Here with senior Tyler Samek to preview the 2019-20 Concordia golf season, and as we record this, not too far away from the first meet, let's just start with this. As far as you're playing golf, why did you get started with it in the first place, and what about it has made you passionate about the sport?
When I was a kid, about 5 or 6 years old, my mom got me some golf clubs, and funny thing, I'm naturally left-handed, and she got me on accident a set of right-handed golf clubs, and so I actually had to learn how to play the sport opposite-handed, and it was just a really fun experience. I always loved it. When I was young, I was a huge baseball lover. I was actually a switch hitter, so golf came pretty naturally to me. And then I just have like an OCD obsession with some things. So like when I get obsessed with something, I just really love to do it, whether it's golf, basketball, basically any sport. And I got passionate too because I watched my mom. My mom played so many professional sports, so I just watched a lot of that and it made me passionate about the sports I love.
So you could mess around and swing the club left-handed.
I can.
If you wanted to. Okay.
I can swing both ways. I've actually done it in a tournament. I have swung both ways.
At Concordia?
Yeah, I did it in a G-Pack event.
And probably made Brett mad.
Well, I kind of had to. There's no choice.
Okay. Do you have a favorite professional golfer then?
Yeah, I have two. Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson. My mom compares me most to Dustin Johnson because of our body frames and how we look. We look pretty similar.
How about what's your favorite course that you've gotten to play on in college to this point?
In college, I would say we played in Alabama my sophomore year, and that was a lot of fun. If I had to pick a course like outside of college even, I was fortunate enough to play the Sand Hills for 5 days, and that was probably one of the best things I've ever done. It was amazing.
You're from David City, obviously not very far away. What convinced you to stay close to home and go to Concordia?
I have a 8-year-old sister now who is one of the best track athletes for her age group in the country, and so I've always wanted to stay around and watch her grow up and watch her do things. This year she went to the nationwide track event, and she got second in the country in long jump at 8 years old, being the youngest competitor. So we're watching something unfold.
You've taught her everything too, probably.
I've tried a little bit. Wasn't a huge track guy, but I have tried.
Certainly this team graduated a person who made a big impact with Nolan Zekas beyond just what he did on the golf course. How does having a teammate like that maybe help you put some things into perspective?
Nolan was a great teammate to have. He was very, I wouldn't even say demanding, but him and I definitely had a good relationship on and off the course, but we had an inner fire, competitiveness like between each other. It was really good to see that between us because it was similar for me in high school. I played with my cousin in high school, so we just competed against each other. But he was also a great leader off the course, especially with all the things he's been through in his life, especially going through cancer at a young age and still having scares during his college career. He's an extremely motivating person sometimes to be around.
So it would seem that maybe now's your time to step up and be in possibly that #1 role in the lineup. How do you embrace that challenge and that responsibility?
I've embraced that a lot. Even when I remember my freshman year, Nolan actually got hurt, and he cut his finger open or whatever. And that taught me a lot from that freshman year because actually what sparked Nolan and I competing against each other a lot was that my freshman year, my first tournament, I had medaled. I actually got tied for 10th, and I beat him. And so that was one of those things. But I've always wanted to be a leader on our team, and even if I wasn't playing the one spot, the last few years I've always really tried to compete for it, and I'm definitely ready for that. Definitely ready to lead a team.
From a conference perspective, to do well, obviously you have to be at your best on those couple of days in the fall and couple of days in the spring? How do you gear up to try to be at your best at that point?
Definitely in the fall. I've always put myself in contention in the fall. It's just putting 4 days of golf together. I think every year in the fall, I've always just done the same things. I've always practiced really hard, but in the fall especially, I guess there's always been something in the air because I've never been outside. I think in my 3 years prior in GPAC in the fall, I don't think I've ever been outside like top 20. Last year was probably my best year. Last year, my freshman year, I think I was in like 6th and 3rd my freshman year. So it's just really trying to find it in the spring. I think it's hard sometimes when we have such that long duration of like 3 or 4 months off to be able to really get back into it, and especially with the weather too. Last year the weather was really bad, so it didn't exactly help.
I'm sure you're just maybe beginning to start to learn some of the new guys that are going to be joining the program. What's the biggest key though for as a team trying to move up in the conference standings?
It's having those kids connect with us older guys and just really having them feel comfortable. I think being comfortable and being willing to come in and just put in work is really the biggest thing. You see it every year from the Morningsides and the Northwesterns. They have kids who are willing to come in, really put in that hard work. And I think if we do that, we have a pretty good chance of being a top 3 to top 5 team in VPAC. I really think we have a lot of potential. We have a lot of young guys with Tyler Bartles and Drew Eckel and Jay from Malaysia. I really think those 3 guys are going to be key guys to really help us be able to generate some more fire in our team's competitiveness.
What's maybe been the biggest area of focus for you in trying to improve your game?
The biggest area for me would definitely be the short game of putting. My sophomore year of college, I went through some really tough times with that, and led to a lot of downside for me for a while. But now I've gotten a little bit more under control, and I've really practiced really hard on it. I used to spend 8 hours a day on a golf course working on it, so I've definitely put the time and effort in for that.
This last question, what's been your favorite memory on a golf course? And it doesn't necessarily have to be with Concordia, but maybe that's a hard question to answer.
Yeah, I'd probably say just the best feeling in the world is having your team be there and you guys accomplishing a goal that you never accomplished. I would really say my freshman and sophomore year with the team that we had when we broke the school record in consecutive years, and we broke so many records. I mean, it was just being on a team that you knew that could do such good things. That was probably one of the greatest moments in my college career, was being on that team that broke the record both times. So possibly being able to be in the Concordia Hall of Fame for that is definitely one of the big things.